So welcome to the first module in the CX Academy course. Now, in this module, we're going to be going over the origin of cryptocurrency. Okay, I'm sure everyone wants to know, where did cryptocurrency start and how did it start and why did it start? And also, who started cryptocurrency? Okay, we're going to be going over all of those in this module to make sure we have a great fundamental understanding of the foundation of cryptocurrency. So just briefly, the contents of this module. We're going to be going over the, at this point, age-old question of who created crypto. And now, you might think, well, crypto surely is, there are multiple coins, multiple people own multiple coins within the crypto market. Well, when I say who created crypto, I'm actually going to talk about who created Bitcoin. Okay, now that will become more obvious in a second as I go on to explain. But once I've done that, we're going to go on to what does Bitcoin enable us to do? What does it allow us to do? Is it a currency? Is it an asset? Okay, we're going to go over that. Then we're going to talk about why we need Bitcoin. Okay, so once we understand what it does, we're going to understand a bit more about why we actually need it. Okay, once we've gone over that, we're going to learn about the network that Bitcoin is operated on, because it does exist online somewhere. Okay, you can actually go and view the blockchain ledger of Bitcoin at any moment. It is completely transparent, so you can go and view it. Then we're going to talk about the fundamental values that Bitcoin was built on, okay? And not only that, but we're going to learn about the problems that Bitcoin actually solved in many ways, okay? And why Bitcoin is so kind of integral to the cryptocurrency world. And finally, like I just said, we're going to go over the Bitcoin role in crypto and why it is so important to the entire crypto market. So let's start with who created crypto, or who created Bitcoin, I should say. Okay, because Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. Now, there's a name on screen, Satoshi Nakamoto, and in 2008, he or she, okay, as we don't know, published a white paper outlining a proposal of Bitcoin, of a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Now, I'd previously said, Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who he or she or they are. Now, you might be wondering, well, surely that's not a good start to investing in cryptocurrency. Well, in actual fact, the way that Bitcoin's protocol has been written or coded actually means that it is completely decentralized. So from the moment they pressed go on their system, Bitcoin began to operate itself. So the original founders of Bitcoin technology, the blockchain technology, okay, and we'll learn about what blockchain is and why it's so important to Bitcoin in a moment. But the founders actually have no more control over Bitcoin, no more control than anyone else on the network at the moment. Okay, so don't let that put you off. It is 100% decentralized, okay, and it will never be centralized. So, they published a white paper, okay, a proposal of what Bitcoin could be or will be, okay. Now you can read this proposal, this white paper, if you want. If you go to bitcoin.org, you can see the actual white paper that was released. And this was the very, very beginning of Bitcoin. And not only Bitcoin, but of all other altcoins, okay? and I'll go on to explain how the altcoins or alternate coins to Bitcoin are created in more detail in a later module. But for now, who created crypto? Satoshi Nakamoto. That's the name you need to remember, as well as the year 2008. Okay, that was when the proposal was actually published. So now we know who created Bitcoin. What does Bitcoin actually enable us to do? Well, it's a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's very similar to online banking today, where you can send and receive money from your mobile devices or your computer, okay, with online banking, mobile banking. So it's no different to that. However, how it is actually operated and the network it actually exists on and that secures it, okay, is completely different to traditional banking. That's the main thing. So, as you can see, a decentralized monetary system from central banks and government, okay? More so central banks. However, it's decentralized, okay? The central banks don't own Bitcoin. You may own a part of the asset of Bitcoin or the currency of Bitcoin, but no one has rights to control, moderate, or increase or decrease the supply of Bitcoin. It's all encoded within the Bitcoin protocol. Okay, so this makes it very, very attractive in terms of what's going on in the current financial world, where central banks and governments are printing cash, they are raising and lowering interest rates as they please, and not only that, but they are essentially debasing their currencies, their fiat currencies at the moment. So all of these things are really, really negative things for the average person, okay? Your purchasing power decreases, as well as interest rates increase, okay? So there's multiple ways which the value of your money that you are saving or earning is decreasing. So Bitcoin enables a counter to those problems. And the introduction of blockchain technology. Okay, so blockchain technology has been dubbed the trust machine. Okay, it is technology which allows us to trust code. Okay, in particular cryptography. So we're going to learn about that in more detail in later modules. But those are the main three things which Bitcoin enables. I did start to explain a little bit why the problem that Bitcoin solves. However, we're going to be talking about that now anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter too much. So why we need Bitcoin? Well, first of all, it's a hedge against the inflation of fiat currencies. Okay, it removes, because of the limited supply of Bitcoin of 21 million coins. It's limited. It's a hard limit. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoins. It is a deflationary currency instead of an inflationary currency. Okay. Now, again, we're going to be talking about currencies in more detail in a later module. However, fiat simply means the currency is not wedded to any kind of commodity. Okay, so central banks can print as much of it as they want without having to back the currency with gold or commodity. Okay, so with Bitcoin, we don't need to back it with anything. However, there is a limited supply of it. So it's a hedge against the inflation of fiat currencies, because we can print more fiat currency, we can't print more Bitcoin. And also it removes human error and corruption from the monetary system. Now, it doesn't take a genius to know that there is corruption within the centralized financial system that the world is currently operated on. So we've got two highlighted sentences at the bottom of the screen. We've got decentralized revolution and monetary revolution, or points, not sentences. Now, a decentralized revolution, we are beginning to explore the options that blockchain technology is presenting to us. Okay, the possibilities that technology is presenting. Now, not only in terms of currency, but in terms of the internet of value, and also the token economy. Okay, so we're going to be learning a little bit more about those and the application, the real world application of those subjects in a later module. But blockchain technology, as it is a trust machine, is allowing us to completely revolutionize the way in which we live. Okay, and also a monetary revolution. Okay, this is one of the first, if not only ever, revolutions in the monetary system that I personally think humanity will ever see. Okay, since the start of trade and bartering and currency, okay, and gold standard currency, and then fiat currency, then online banking, we're now seeing cryptocurrency. And I think personally it is the final monetary revolution that our species needs, okay, that humanity needs. So now we've learned about what it enables and why we need it. How is it actually operated? How does Bitcoin function? Well, to put it in very simple terms, it's software connected to the blockchain that is hosted on personal devices around the world. Now, anyone can become a node on the Bitcoin blockchain network. So anyone can take part in becoming a Bitcoin miner. Okay, now I'm going to be throwing a bunch of new terms and phrases at you. I will be explaining what these terms mean as we go through the course, so don't be too alarmed if you don't understand what I'm talking about. It will all make sense, okay, especially if you rewatch modules after you have kind of progressed through the course a little bit further. So, a node on the network is a Bitcoin miner. And a Bitcoin miner has two main roles. The first role is to process transactions on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin network, on the blockchain, okay? The blockchain is considered a financial ledger for Bitcoin. So a miner is essentially the banker of Bitcoin. Okay, now anyone can be a banker of Bitcoin. They also are rewarded, okay, so as they process these new payments, these transactions, if they are selected by the system to publish those transactions onto the blockchain, then they are rewarded with freshly minted Bitcoin. It's called a block reward. Okay, now again, there's so many elements to this. I'm going to try my best not to confuse you, but that is a very brief overview of the Bitcoin network. Okay, we have miners who are incentivized by Bitcoin reward, by financial reward, to actually uphold the network and process these transactions. Okay, now because this happens all over the world and is completely decentralized and operates off a consensus model, okay, we'll get on to what that means in the later module. It essentially allows us to trust the Bitcoin network. Okay, as you know, there are elements of, or there's a huge element of cryptography involved, and as well as computing power or proof of work that allow us to trust people or nodes who want to operate the Bitcoin network. Okay, so everything's going to tie together towards the end of this course. It's all going to make sense. At the moment, I'm just going to be throwing these sentences and phrases at you as an overview of what the Bitcoin network is. So moving on, Bitcoin's fundamental values. What's the Bitcoin DNA? What's it made up of? Okay, what allows it to be so great? And what problems does it actually solve? What solutions does it provide? Well, Bitcoin is made up of a decentralized ledger. Okay, remember the ledger is the blockchain. So it's decentralized because anyone can become a Bitcoin miner, which means anyone can uphold or withhold the Bitcoin network. So it's a decentralized ledger. You add that to cryptography to keep transactions secure, okay, and to keep the ledger in order. And you also throw in a bunch of protocols which, specific to Bitcoin, are things such as the 21 million coins capped, okay, hard capped. So you throw in essentially some rules for Bitcoin that will never change, and you get a decentralized, trustworthy currency. So, Bitcoin's role in crypto. Like I said at the start of this module, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. There was no other cryptocurrency before Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was also the first application of blockchain technology. Okay, blockchain technology was proposed, I can't remember exactly, maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Okay, maybe more. However, the first real-world application of blockchain technology was for the trust mechanics of Bitcoin, to uphold Bitcoin, or to allow Bitcoin to exist. So all other coin currencies originate from Bitcoin's open source code. Now you might think, well, if it's open source, people can edit it and change it. Well, going back to the decentralized miners, okay, who uphold the network, they operate off a consensus model, which means changes in the Bitcoin code must be accepted by all or more than 51% of the miners. Okay, so no one can just come along and change the open source code. It's very, very difficult to do, especially difficult if it is not something which the entire Bitcoin community believe in. Okay, so we're going to go through what happens when a change does happen to the operation of Bitcoin. They're called forks, okay, where the code is slightly changed for better, okay, always for better. And we're going to be exploring that in later modules, so don't worry about that for now. You can exchange other altcoins and tokens with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is like the central or the centralized value, store of value for all of cryptocurrency. Okay, you may want to maybe buy and sell, if you wanted to, other alternate coins. However, it's most likely that you are going to throw profits or maybe the balance back into Bitcoin, as that is the store of value. Okay, as the primary currency of crypto. And also, Bitcoin will be a globally accepted payment method. Now, you could argue that other altcoins will achieve this status of globally accepted payments. However, I truly believe that Bitcoin will be the sole cryptocurrency. Okay, all other currencies or altcoins and tokens will have other uses and other values. Okay. However, Bitcoin will be the primary currency. So that is the origin of cryptocurrency done. We have been through everything we need to know to start building this foundation of knowledge for cryptocurrency, in particular Bitcoin. Now, again, I've thrown a lot of phrases at you and keywords which we will be going into more detail on. However, it's important to start throwing these words around and getting familiar with them just in the origin of cryptocurrency section, okay, before we actually get into the some more detail of how Bitcoin operates and works in a later module. So I will see you in the next module of the course.